Think of 3 questions.
I'm good. We're ready?
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start there. When it hits 2, we change topics. Great.
Alright. So, how would you survive AP Lit? Like, what are your ideas for that?
So I think for this passage, for this portion, we're going to focus on how to approach a writing prompt. And we're going to give 5 main ideas on how we would approach a writing prompt on a test.
Gotcha. So one of those things that you have is think of 3 questions to answer. Like, what do you mean? Think of 3 questions. Like, where are those questions coming from?
Well, what this is when you read the prompt, you should think of 3 questions. You want to answer those questions in your prompt because that's pretty much what they're going to be looking for. You don't want to do the whole thing. So sometimes in prompts they'll say look for the tone, some key terms they use or something. You don't want to answer all that. You just want 3 questions. 3 questions, and go from there.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you really just want to look at the prompt and what it's asking for and narrow down 3 things you want to focus on to address the prompt.
Not only that, it helps you just like to organize a little bit better too, right? Like just
Yeah.
get your thoughts out on paper, like compared to like just like reading from like the prompt and the passages. It's just gonna help you out a lot more, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So I think that that's a big one because a lot of times people have trouble thinking of not exactly what to say or how to analyze the passage, but mainly just how they're going to answer the prompt, and a lot of times their answers are irrelevant to what the prompt is asking. So I think that if you find those questions to answer, yeah, like you said, it'll help you have a much more organized essay and just really be able to put your ideas together more cohesively as a whole.
It pretty much gives you a beginning, middle, and end. Beginning 1 question, no, second question, the end is the 3rd.
Yeah.
One thing that I definitely like have is test anxiety. So like, how would you prep yourself to like take on like a exam or an essay or AP exam and such?
I would, College Board, they have examples from past years, so do some examples on your own on College Board, look them up online.
Okay. Yeah, I think that for sure it's a lot of times it's people when they're anxious about a test, they rush during a test or they don't really read into the passage and they just try to answer as fast as they can. And I think that it's important to actually just focus on, well, not being anxious about it and just focusing on the basics and the fundamentals of how to approach a writing prompt, how to do other things like analyze poetry, which is another one of our points. So, yeah, I think that for sure it's important to kind of keep a level head during the test and not freak out.
Gotcha. Like one thing that I'm starting to do myself is actually like being more involved in class, because the majority of the stuff that we're doing in class is just to help you understand poetry, how to analyze it better, and how to organize yourself better. Especially with like all the mock exams that we take in, all the essays we've done, all the multiple choice that we've done. That's all to help us be ready for the final one that we're doing. And with all of those examples and all those problems, like I feel like I've been getting a better feel for testing, and my stress levels and anxiety levels have gone down dramatically through all the help that my teachers have given me. Another question I had was like, how would you connect the questions that were in the passage? Like, how would you do that?
Well, I think that for sure you want to look at what we said in the first one, you want to look at what the prompt is actually asking of you and what you need to answer according to the prompt. But you also want to connect it with the actual meaning of the passage, not just find not just find some like simple correlation, but you really want to look deeper into the passage and analyze it and see what the meaning behind it is, and really find a way to link that with the actual question. So yeah, you just really want to find some relevant points that can really support what you're trying to answer from the prompt.
And go along with that, I would read the passage multiple times, get to know the passage. If you know the passage really well, those questions will come a lot easier. You connect them a lot better.
That's a good idea, yeah. Like, one thing that I've also done is just like breaking down the passages into different portions. Like, say, like, if the passage is like a poetry, something, right? Poetry, and there's like 3 stanzas. I break them down into 3 pieces, and by doing that, I can focus on one, get a good understanding of that part, and then moving on to the next one. But one problem with that I found was time management. If I spend too much time on the passage, I won't have enough time to either finish the multiple choice, or I will have to like skim read the poetry, which will also later make me miss more questions. But now I'm starting to develop more of a habit of just quickly going at a faster pace while still breaking it down, and that's been helping me out a lot. And one other thing that I've been trying to do is also avoiding summarizing a passage. So like just taking quotes and then applying them. Like, I think we should, like, I need to take a step further than that, like actually analyzing it further, other than just summarizing the passage and copying it down to my essay or multiple choice.
Yeah, a lot of times this links to the whole, our last point, which is you want to look at what the passage actually means instead of just looking at what's happening in the passage. And it really helps to actually keep the question in mind and the prompt in mind the entire time, because while you're trying to look through the passage and find what it means, it becomes easy to like summarize it if you're not actually reading it with a purpose in mind, which is to answer the question. So yeah, just going back to that, just thinking of having that question in your head the entire time while you're reading the passage is important.
Another thing is, the graders, they're not looking for if you can summarize the passage. They know what the passage is. They want to know if you understand what it's trying to say. They want you to go a little deeper. They don't want just simply to hear the same things over and over, because they know the passage really well. They want you to go in detail. They want to know how maybe the character feels if something happens, and so on.
So, yeah, I was going to lead into the next point.
Okay.
I think that what I notice a lot is that a lot of people focus on literary devices a lot, and this is what I personally don't do this pretty much at all in essays. I see a lot of people who are focusing on, they structure their essays around, looking at the tone, looking at literary devices, looking at metaphors, and symbolism. And while these are important, I feel like a lot of people focus on these devices because the prompt says, like the prompt usually says, notice how tone and voice and diction play into it. But I think that how I found helps me get a better score on essays and helps me actually write a better essay is to actually just focus on the meaning of the essay, of the passage, because it really helps show the graders that you actually know what it means instead of just showing the graders that you know what these certain terms are.
So what you're kind of saying is like don't really focus on a simple literary device to one paragraph, or like just to one portion, or like do you want like us to just avoid devices kind of, or?
I think that it's best to, like, I know a lot of people find comfort in devices, but I feel like it's best personally for me to just avoid talking about literary devices. Like, it's important to connect things. Maybe you can connect things to literary devices, see how this connects to that, or this is related to that, and you could say how they're connected using a literary device. But for the most part, talking about what the literary devices do and what they provide for the passage is usually, I feel like, a weak kind of essay structure.
You want that? I would just say focus on one. Don't go more than one literary advice, because then you're saying what you already know instead of what the passage means.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Alright guys, that was our first podcast on how to survive AP Lit. There will be more to come. My name's John Lamb.
My name is David Rowe.
My name is Brian Kantner.
And we'll see you later.
Like and subscribe.
What channel?